conversation. Yesterday we had actor Kalki speaking about her documentary film between India and Pakistan. The topic is India-Pakistan love story or hate. I would like to call on stage Executive Editor, India Today, Gaurav Sawant. Can we please settle down? May I please invite our two speakers. Put your hands together as I welcome Abdul Basit, High Commissioner of Pakistan to India. And now may I please call on stage Mr. G. Parthasarthy, former High Commissioner of India to Pakistan.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. India Today Conclave comes to you from the iconic city of Mumbai. 9 years ago, this city was targeted by 10 Pakistani terrorists. 166 innocents were massacred in Mumbai. Barely 20 kilometers from where we are today, 10 Pakistani terrorists, trained, armed, and launched from Pakistan and micromanaged by Pakistan, killed 166 people in Mumbai. 26/11 Mumbai terror attack, sadly, was neither the first nor the last Pakistan-sponsored terror attack in India. 9 years later, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan is still to punish a single perpetrator of the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks. And that is my question to High Commissioner Basit. Welcome to Mumbai, sir. Welcome to a city targeted by Pakistan terror repeatedly. Why is it, High Commissioner, not a single terrorist has been punished?
Hello. Thank you very much, Gaurav. First of all, let me thank India Today for inviting me to this very interesting and useful conclave and discussion. It is always great to be in Mumbai, enjoying the warmth and affection of the people of this beautiful city. So thank you very much. As for your question, let me tell you that both our governments are in touch with each other with a view to expediting the trial, and we hope that we would be able to make some progress on that count.
Also with us is Ambassador G. Parthasarthy. Ambassador Parthasarthy is former High Commissioner to Pakistan. Would you buy this argument? Both the countries are in touch, and I want to, for a moment, tell you what Pakistan's own investigators found out. Tariq Khosa was Director General of Pakistan's Federal Investigation Agency. His investigation, and this is Pakistan's investigation, this found that the 10 terrorists were trained in Pakistan, launched from Pakistan. They were trained in a place called Thattari. They were guided from a control room in Pakistan. The explosives that were used in Mumbai matched with the explosives that were found in Pakistan. Funds trail was exposed by Pakistan. And Ambassador Parthasarthy, no punishment.
Well, I belong to a somewhat earlier generation. If I remember correct, public memory is short, even in Mumbai. Don't forget March 1993. Bomb explosions that killed 250 people. Many have been tried, convicted. We know where they got their weapons from, established in court. But the perpetrator, the main perpetrator, Dawood Ibrahim from the city, is in Karachi. Now, if people deny he is in Karachi, but I just want to narrate to you an experience. When I was High Commissioner, I had gone to the Foreign Office and I was told this story that Dawood Ibrahim is not in Karachi. But when I visited Karachi, I had lived there 3.5 years. At a place called Defense Housing Society Phase 4, where we had enough information about where he lived. And I drove past till my Pakistani driver told me कि आपके मुंबई के माफिया डॉन यहाँ रहते हैं. And that was an address I drove by deliberately. We knew the address quite obviously. We know where he lives. So I just see history repeating itself. With regard to Hafiz Muhammad Saeed, and let me put you another thought. The people who were tried, the main man was this
Zakir Rahman Lakhvi.
Zakir Rahman Lakhvi. It may interest the people of Mumbai to know that he and this was published in Pakistan papers, he was honorably visited by the DGISI, then General Shuja Pasha, when in jail. And lo and behold, he was given conjugal rights and produced a baby in jail when being tried for Mumbai.
Sir,
So if you ask me, do I expect anything to happen in a hurry? I think I'm a patient man, but in dealing with such issues, it's not often the trial which works. Because I
no,
can't
trial works, because
no, what I'm saying is I don't think it's going to proceed further.
Sir, on the
for the
specific,
present.
for the specific issue, Pakistan's double standards. You're saying in 2611 the trial is progressing, but why isn't it progressing? Where is the flaw? Where's the problem?
First of all, Gaurav, let me underline the fact that it's a very complex case. The crime was committed in India, whereas a trial is taking place in Pakistan. And these trials do take time. I would not like to offend anyone here. But how much time it has taken for India to try those perpetrators of the Samjhota Express blast for that matter.
Sir,
So
the
we have
accused
to
are
be-
in jail,
no,
but that's
let
one
me-
part of the
let
story.
me complete my argument. So these trials do take time. Our suggestion, our submission to our Indian friends is that please do not jump the gun. We have, the trial is underway, which would require cooperation by the two governments. And I hope, as I said earlier, the two governments are in touch with each other with a view to expediting the trial. And here, I must underscore that bilateral cooperation is a must in order to bring the perpetrators to justice. Here, I must also underline that we need to assist our court in order to dispense justice at the end of the day.
Sir, I'll leave it to the people here if they accept what you're saying, because 140 people and little children were massacred in Army Public School, Peshawar. Those terrorists, what trial, what happened? There was a military court within a year. So 16th December 2014 is when terrorists hit army children in Army Public School, Peshawar. Before 16th December 2015, 4 perpetrators in Pakistan have been hanged.
Because that did not involve two governments. Gaurav, try to understand that.
That involved a military court. Why isn't a military court being set up?
Why is it taking too long to bring perpetrators of Samjhota Express to justice? Why it is taking too long?
Ambassador.
Just a point about something taking place in another country. There were 2 guys who were in touch with the Lashkar-e-Taiba, both of Pakistani origin, Headley and Rana. Both were tried in an American court. Both got life sentences. This is a United States court, and my complaint really has been, all the evidence is there in the American court. Headley met the Lashkar-e-Taiba chief. He was in on the planning. That is testimony accepted in a US court. I am not a lawyer, but I'm not dumb. So as I say, I am not one of those who says, in dealing with these issues, just remember one thing. Even God will not help those who don't help themselves. There are several means to deal with such cases. The Americans have put out a reward of $10 million on the head of Hafiz Saeed. I'm sure we can take measures beyond what we are contemplating. And I'll leave it at that.
I think, Gaurav, if we were to achieve positive results, what we need to do is to do away with ho-hum politics. And these slapdash approaches towards our relations. We need to be more holistic in our view, Mumbai is not the only thing which should define our relations. And as the topic of our discussion goes, hate and love relationship, you know, this reminds me of a couplet by a renowned Pakistan poet, Parveen Shakir, who says that कुछ फैसला तो हो कि किधर जाना चाहिए, कुछ फैसला तो हो कि किधर जाना चाहिए, पानी को अब तो सर से गुजर जाना चाहिए. We need, I think, to make a basic decision about this relationship. Whether you would like to be influenced by skewed approaches or you would like to move ahead. And then we need to understand that it is our, hostility predates Samjhota, Mumbai or Pathankot for that matter. We fought wars in 47, 65, 71. So we need to address basic issues in our relationship.
I completely agree with you,
and then
Ambassador. I completely agree with you. It cannot be just Mumbai. Because beyond Mumbai, there's a Pathankot, there is an Uri, there is another terror attack in Mumbai.
Yes.
There is an attack on the Indian embassy in Afghanistan. The day Prime Minister Narendra Modi was to be sworn in, before that there was an attack at the Indian consulate in Herat. Trace back. I interviewed Hamid Karzai, then President of Afghanistan.
My contention,
he said Lashkar-e-Taiba was involved
My
there.
counter-argument is, it is not only terrorism which should define our relations. We also have strong concerns on when it comes to terrorism, I can assure you, because it has both, in Pakistan for that matter, it has both internal and external dimensions. What I'm trying to say is that by creating hype around terrorism, you cannot wish away other issues which continue to bedevil our relationship. And in that context, we strongly feel that Jammu and Kashmir is the dispute between our two countries.
Pakistan occupied Kashmir certainly is, Ambassador.
I think much as we've been good friends for years, I do not use a bilateral difference with some country to justify terrorism. Nothing justifies terrorism.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I want to narrate the other point. You are dealing with a country which is told to me by my American friends, I'm sure this audience will listen, about Osama bin Laden, the world's most wanted terrorist. You know what happened? He lands up with 3 wives, 5 children, produces 3 more children in Pakistan, is living next to the Pakistan Military Academy, where even a fly won't move without the cantonment board and the military knowing, for 7 years before the Americans pick him up. The problem really is, this is not just India. It's Afghanistan, it's the United States. It's Osama bin Laden was wanted internationally, globally, living in an American cantonment, 3 wives, producing children in government hospitals.
Explain this, Ambassador. Why is your country called Terror Central?
Let me just complete. This is the world's most wanted terrorist. Of course, everybody said we didn't know he was there. For God's sake, whom are you trying to pull a fast one on? The heart of a cantonment, 40 kilometers away from the capital, you have the world's most wanted terrorist. 3 wives, 8 children, 5 grandchildren, living in a palatial house, and nobody knew about it. So I think the same thing applies to Hafiz Muhammad Saeed.
No, Hafiz Saeed is leading Eid Namaz, Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore. Sir, is he a terrorist? Is he not a terrorist? Has he ever been charged with terror in Pakistan?
First of all, let me once again tell this house that by sticking to sterile blame game stuff, we will go nowhere.
Sir, lives are lost. Hundreds of lives are lost. It's not a sterile
Pakistan
blame
has
game.
lost close to 70,000 innocent lives during the last 15 years.
And yet double standards in dealing with terror,
I can cite you thousands of examples, giving you quotes from American, for example, former Defense Secretary of US, Mr. Hagel. What did he say? He clearly said that Pakistan is being destabilized through Afghanistan. And he was referring to something. So I think we do not need this blame game to continue.
We need action on terror. Why is Pakistan not taking action against India-centric terror, sir?
We are taking action.
Where?
Who says we are not taking action?
Pathankot, Prime Minister Narendra Modi invited ISI to Pathankot Air Base. What action has Pakistan taken
The
against
trial,
Jaish-e-Mohammed?
let me first come to the Mumbai trial. As I said earlier, the trial is on. Our two governments are cooperating, and I underline cooperating. And there has been exchange of communications between the two governments lately. And I do see some hope that things would move forward. As for the Pathan Code, I strongly feel that we need to restore the spirit of cooperation. Now, unless we do that, I doubt very much that things will go anywhere. But for that to happen, you need to have, an overall conducive environment. When we are not talking to each other, when we are avoiding each other, there is no environment of cooperation. How do we expect to things move forward? I think we need to decide on fundamental matters first. We need to be sitting across the table in order to be discussing these difficult issues. Things do not really, we cannot expect progress in a vacuum. Please try to understand
Is Hafiz Saeed a terrorist in Pakistan? Has he ever been booked for terror in Pakistan?
He has been put under house arrest under Anti-Terrorism Act of Pakistan, and we are observing it. And if there is any evidence against him, and we hope if India does have any evidence, that would be shared with us in order to put him on trial.
Sir, David Coleman Headley,
in effect,
is that
we are
evidence?
being told that a terrorist listed by the United Nations Security Council, who has a $10 million bounty on his head, is a 21st century incarnation of the Archangel Gabriel. Now, the fact of the matter is, it's not just us. Talk to the Afghans. I visit Kabul quite regularly. Every terrorist attack has come from across the border. I was in Afghanistan, Jaftar embassy was attacked, and both the Afghans and Americans told me the attack had come from across the border. The other point I want to mention is that this continues to date. Hillary Clinton and the High Commissioner spoke about their being affected by terrorism. It is the very people they trained for terrorism in Afghanistan and India who attacked them. The Tehreek-e-Taliban-e-Pakistan, to fight which they have deployed over 80,000 troops, 1 million refugees, many of them 50,000 crossed into the border in Afghanistan. These were people whose leader, Baitullah Masood, warned India that he would attack us after 9/11 if we dared to respond, 26/11 if we dared to respond.
So High Commissioner Basit?
No, one thing, I think Hillary Clinton said the best thing to them about the terrorist attacks which started in Pakistan. You can't nurture snakes in your backyard and expect that they will bite only your neighbor.
And what we're also seeing, High Commissioner Basit, is why would a US Congressman, Ted Poe, want to declare Pakistan a terrorist state? Why is it that Indian parliamentarians talk about declaring Pakistan a terrorist state? Why is Pakistan taking no action against a Hafiz Saeed or a Zakir Rahman Lakwi or a Zarar Shah or a Dawood Ibrahim or a Maulana Masood Azhar?
Gaurav, we also have our own legal procedures, our own laws. Like
why not a military code for these terrorists? If there are no good terrorists and bad terrorists.
The entire Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan leadership is being provided sanctuary inside Afghanistan, and they are being funded to carry out terror activities inside Pakistan. So we also have problems, issues. Try to understand. If we continue to be influenced by these, somewhat prejudices against each other.
Prejudice?
Yeah, we would
166 massacred in Mumbai is
so
prejudice?
70,000 Pakistani have also been killed.
Just a minute, I want to tell the people of Mumbai one thing. You didn't lose just 160. You lost 410. Don't forget or forgive 1993.
And we
And
condemn that
memory not
attack.
be so
Nobody
low.
can, draw consolation or satisfaction from those terror actions. That's why we have put those 7 accused on trial in Pakistan. Now, for heaven's sake, if he were to attain some result, achieve something, we need cooperation from India. This is what I'm trying to suggest. And unless our two countries cooperate, I doubt very much that we can go anywhere. This is what I'm
Prime
trying
Minister
to underline.
called ISI to Pathankot, let them see the airbase. Where is cooperation? Why isn't the Indian team being allowed to visit
Why
Pakistan
it is necessary
and investigate there?
For example, no, again, you know, we again try to see through a very narrow lens this whole thing of Pathankot. Yes, our team visited
Udhampur,
here.
Nave, the terrorist was caught. In Kupwara, another terrorist was
Our
caught.
team did visit Pathankot, and they had a very good exchange of views with their counterparts in India. But as I said, we need to restore the spirit of cooperation when it comes to the Pathankot incident. Nothing will happen in a vacuum. If we are not talking to each other, there is no kind of level of cooperation going on between our two countries. How you expect things to move forward? This I can't understand.
You know, I think I would look ahead. I narrated to you my experience of dealing with the Dawood Ibrahim episode several years ago. He happily got his daughter glamorously married to the son of a equally glamorous cricketer when he was not supposed to be in Pakistan. So I'll leave it at that. I think we need to look ahead.
What are steps that India wants Pakistan to take? What steps can Pakistan
I'm
take?
very clear. I'm very clear in my mind. I look back in the past. I don't believe that any useful... and this belief that only things will move with the dialogue is rubbish. We had no dialogue between 94 and 98 and nothing happened. We foolishly resumed dialogue after our embassy was attacked. And just remember, there was a correlation between the attack on our embassy in Kabul, where our military advisor was killed, and the attack on Mumbai. Why? Because the government just said, no, we'll go and have more dialogue. Yes, Pakistan is a neighbor. You have to talk to Pakistan, but I am very clear in my mind, like the rest of the world, it's not just us. Talk to the Afghans, talk to the Bangladeshis, they'll tell you a lot. The fact of the matter is that we must have a dialogue, but it must be predominantly terrorism focused. Secondly, I'm very clear in my mind that the military, if the snows will soon melt, and if we are going to have terrorist attacks again when the snows melt in Kashmir, I'm afraid this is Mr. Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister. There were certain reactions last year, which even the American satellites appear to have picked up. So there is a different situation. I am for the military meeting, firstly to ensure the border is sealed for the future.
Can Pakistan ensure that?
And incidentally, they were supposed to meet, the
in terms
DGMOs
of
meet.
terrorist training camps being shut down, or demonstrable action against a Hafiz Saeed or a Zakir Rahman Lakhvi?
There are no training camps, I can assure you. And we are committed.
And
we are
terrorists come
committed
from Mars,
to,
says President Pranab
when
Mukherjee
it comes to extirpating terrorism, there are no ifs and buts in our approach. You know, again, Gaurav, terrorism is one issue, and we have to get to grips with that, because it's a common challenge for both our countries. And as I said, I can accuse you, you can accuse me. There are serious issues
we are
involved,
giving you facts.
and we have to deal with this issue. But at the end of the day, other issues are equally important. We need to discuss Jammu and Kashmir, we need to discuss Siachen, Sar Creek, which continue to bedevil our relationship.
In a terror-free environment.
And if we not, yes, that is correct, but
So
we need
Pakistan has to create that terror-free
all
environment
these
first.
issues simultaneously, because what we have seen in the past, we take one step forward, two steps back. We need to get out of this cycle.
Bluntly, we are being
and
told...
this trust deficit which is there, we need to pluck this deficit, and that will come when we irreversibly engage with each other on a trajectory which takes us forward, not backward.
In a terror-free environment, when action is taken against
Nobody
terrorists.
is questioning that. We need to deal with the issue of terrorism as well. And that would require cooperation by the two countries. Nobody is
So you are saying
disputing
unless
that.
India talks Kashmir, you will take no action?
I'm
against
not
Hafiz
saying,
Saeed?
I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to suggest is we need to retain the spirit or restore the spirit of cooperation in order to move forward on all issues of
Does that
contention
mean that
between our two countries.
India now needs to carry out a deeper surgical strike, Ambassador Parthasarthy,
I won't
and
go
take
into,
out terrorists on its own?
I won't go into all that. I am certain that the response in future is going to be somewhat different to the past. We are not going to shed Indian lives for nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
Th- th-
Shedding
th- th-
Indian
this is-
lives
this
is
is-
no longer
this-
acceptable.
this-
That's not acceptable at all.
The second point I want to make is I agree with the High Commissioner, but let us first ensure nothing happens in future. For that, let us seal the borders. It was agreed that by the two prime ministers that the DGMOs should meet. You had an army chief who was a bit of a cowboy. I'm glad he's gone. After insulting the Prime President of Iran, the present army chief has been far more sober. Yes, I hope we find it possible for the DGMOs to meet, for more senior people to meet, including the chiefs of the army. But let's also be very clear of one thing, and I want to make this clear to this audience in Mumbai. You have to draw a distinction in the decision making between India and Pakistan. We have a situation in Pakistan where an elected government does not take the last decision, does not have the last say on relations with India. It is the military. Let's have no doubts. The Americans recognize that. The world knows that. Everybody knows that.
For a moment,
I'm talking of real world.
Yes.
So let's be very clear how the new army chief works out. But as far as I'm concerned, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst.
But isn't that a fact? Your army chief has the last word. When there's a terror attack in Afghanistan, Ashraf Ghani speaks to the army chief. Your army chief goes to Beijing. America deals with your army chief. That is how the power functions in your country, sir.
Not really. I think we are a robust democracy and things are moving in the way our civil society works, our media is. I think people who live with their pathological biases, they cannot see a new Pakistan. Pakistan has come a long way during the last 15 years. And I can tell you, yes, we do take inputs like in any other country from our security and agencies in formulating any policy. But to say that they dictate our policy vis-a-vis India or Afghanistan, I find it somewhat far-fetched in my view.
Just one last point about the distribution of power in Pakistan. When the Trump administration came in a few days ago, their defense minister was General Mattis, who's just taken over. He didn't speak to the defense minister of Pakistan. He spoke to the army chief of Pakistan. It is not the defense minister of Pakistan who meets visiting heads of government. It is the army chief of Pakistan who meets them. Let us be very, very clear. I mean, we understand each other. I mean, I've lived in Pakistan. I have a huge number of good friends. They understand us and we understand them. So let's not try to kid each other.
And
there
now
are
I think in
lots of
India-Pakistan
friends,
relations, we should
but
call
as
a spade
long
a spade.
as the military establishment,
We should call a spade a spade.
as long as the military establishment controls the shots, we are going to have this trouble. So let the militaries, the DGMOs meet as we agreed. I mean, they know what the score is. I mean, let's be very, very clear. Whatever may be said, there has the world.
For
if
a moment,
read
Ambassador,
American statements, there has been a change after September 29th last year on how they view India reacting to these developments. The last thing, I think, as far as I'm concerned, we are reaching a stage of relations with Pakistan which is affecting regional cooperation. And therefore, while we are looking forward to South Asia and SAARC, we've really found there's much greater benefit in dealing with our eastern neighbors. Nothing moved in SAARC.
And this is Pakistan-China axis which is stalling SAARC and other.
I want
to, for a moment, I want to also talk about what is happening. Is Gilgit-Baltistan becoming your fifth province?
I'm not aware of any such thing. I'm not privy to any such recommendation, frankly speaking.
Because there was a media report that seemed to say so. Gilgit-Baltistan, part of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, becoming the fifth province of Pakistan.
No. Look, that is an internal decision which they wish to take. They can take. There will be consequences. And I wouldn't like to comment on what they do in Gilgit-Baltistan beyond saying one thing. That Gilgit-Baltistan, for people here, was a Shia majority area of very distinct ethnic background, and the people from Gilgit-Baltistan are extremely worried that the ethnic composition of that area is being taken place, but that's a matter we will address as time goes by, when and if talks begin on the larger
May I
issue of
just take
Jammu and Kashmir.
one question?
No.
There's a victim of the 26/11 Mumbai
We
terror
are
attack. She's
completely
here.
out of time.
Indra, ma'am, you had a
Just
question for
one
Ambassador,
question, maybe.
the High Commissioner.
Hello. I was present in Taj Mahal Hotel. I went for a wedding. And there were so many more people like me in the restaurants here, there. You know how Taj is, a beautiful place. We all went to enjoy one evening and suddenly this started shooting. It was so horrible. It was really horrible. I'm a survivor. I thank God that I was saved, but I was not happy with that. I said, oh my God, so many people died. That's very sad. I just want to ask you something. You just said that terrorists are horrible. Terrorism is very bad. Why should your law allow them to enjoy for so many years? So many years have passed and they are not punished. It's
High Commissioner.
really horrible.
First of all, madam, nobody can condone terrorism. And terrorism cannot be justified, no matter what.
But
It
still,
is as
they should be
simple as that.
punished.
But obviously, in order to try, people who are accused of any terror action, obviously, it has to be done through a legal procedure. So we are trying to do that. And as I said earlier, the two countries need to cooperate on that. And I hope and I genuinely expect that the two countries would enter into a cooperative engagement in order to expedite that trial. But at the same time, I would very humbly request all my friends here that we need not jump the gun. Let's wait for the court verdict, and that will come through if our two countries are able to cooperate, to exchange evidence, to exchange more information, allow cross-examination of witnesses and so on and so forth. Should that happen, I have no doubt that the trial, we would be able to put a closure on that trial.
High Commissioner, before we let you go, and since time's running out, 2 Indians are missing in Pakistan just now, 2 Sufi clerics from Delhi. Can you tell us something, if something is known?
No, that was taken up with us by the Indian government, and our authorities are trying to locate them.
Right.
Because it's an issue, and we need to see as to where they are, and we are trying our best.
I'd like to conclude by saying, I'm glad Mrs. Basit is also here, and to wish you all the very best in your stay in China. As I reminded you, there's a beautiful Beijing duck restaurant in Beijing. Do make it a point to go there.
I sincerely hope relations between India and Pakistan improve and there is action on India-centric terror, sir. Thank you very much.
Let me, Gaurav, conclude by saying that, Pakistan and India do need to start a new journey, in my view, because these are 2 big countries in South Asia, and our good relations, constructive relations, are not only important for our 2 countries, but for the region as a whole and beyond. So we need to really, work together. We can live another 70 years in this hostile environment, but I think the time has come to really, genuinely introspect and see as to how we can move forward without any disruption in our relationship. And I think we're all, Ambassador particularly, has been working towards that objective. Let's continue promoting positive things in our relationship rather focusing only on negatives. That will take us nowhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I'm confident action against Hafiz Saeed would be one very positive development. Thank you very much,
Okay.
High Commissioner.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. Thank you.
Show.
Thank you, High Commissioner. Thank you, Mr. G. Parthasarthy. May I call on stage Group Editorial Director of Publishing India Today to kindly come and give a small token of our thanks and appreciation to the 2 gentlemen. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, our 2 guests, if you can have a huge round of applause for Mr. G. Parthasarthy and Mr. Abdul Basit.